Is Apple trying anymore? Is there no more innovation left in Cupertino? These are things that I've been listening to a lot lately. Now let's face it, the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max has problems. And Apple knows that. We've got a problem to talk about at the end of the video, but before that, let's talk about what's actually new beyond a new button. This is the brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this is my review. We've got the largest display ever on an iPhone with the Pro Max coming at 6.9 inches. We've also got thinner bezels, which means we've got even thinner borders on the edge of the display. If you want to be honest, I haven't noticed a massive difference with the slight improvements with the display, but obviously if you compare them side by side, you truly notice how big and how thinner the bezels have actually gotten. The 16 Pro Max continues with its beautiful Grade 5 titanium. Titanium is comfortable, it's premium, it's lightweight. I've never really been a fan of the Pro Max models, of the larger models, because of how heavy it was, but with the titanium, it truly feels lighter. Fun fact, this is something that not a lot of people know, but the 16 Pro Max this year is actually slightly heavier than the 15 Pro Max. This is probably due to the larger display. Don't get me wrong, it's extremely lightweight still. We obviously have to talk about the star of the show, Desert Titanium, which is the brand new finish coming to the Pro models this year. You cannot comprehend how happy I am that gold is finally back on the iPhone. My favorite iPhone ever was the iPhone 5S. That gold was simply beautiful, and this Desert Titanium feels gold, but it's not as gold. Depending on the lighting, it will range from white to gold. The frosted glass back feels like it's got this creamish color, and then on the side of the iPhone, it screams gold, like this very toned down gold, leaving you with this Desert Titanium finish, which once again, I'm just obsessed. Apple has also enhanced the durability of the 16 Pro, enhancing its ceramic shield. Apple says that it's actually 15% tougher than the previous generation. I actually dropped my last year's 15 Pro quite a lot and nothing ever happened to it. I don't know if you've noticed, but iPhones don't really break anymore. I mean, obviously it's still glass and it will break depending on the situation, but previously on iPhone 4 and iPhone 8, you saw glass breaking more, but recently it's not something you see often today, and that's all due to ceramic shield, and Apple improving upon that is incredible. The heart of the iPhone 16 Pro is the brand new A18 Pro chip. It's got 20% faster speeds and improved efficiency, which is perfect for demanding tasks like gaming and most importantly, AI. But we're gonna talk about that in just a second, because that's where exactly things get kind of iffy. The 16 Pro also has better thermal management. This is due to a new improved internal design. I wouldn't call this a feature rather than a fix, because for me, the 14 Pro didn't overheat and the 15 Pro did overheat, and now Apple is basically fixing it. Once again, this is not a feature. This was a desperate fix that the iPhone needed. And as I said, here's where things get kind of iffy, because the iPhone 16 Pro is compatible, obviously, with Apple Intelligence. And it brings features like the brand new enhanced Siri, the new photo cleanup tool, which you can basically select an object, tap on it, and it will basically disappear. Now, all of these features will arrive with iOS 18.1 very soon, and only in US English. And that's kind of crazy if you think about it, because there's two main features on the iPhone 16 Pro. It's Apple Intelligence on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's the brand new mind-blowing camera features, which we're gonna talk about in just a second. And it's crazy to think about that these iOS 18.1 features are coming soon, but it's not even out. And then all the major Apple Intelligence features that Apple is actually showing us in the keynote won't be available who knows when. The big problem is, for those of us who live in the EU or China, Apple Intelligence won't be available, and once again, we don't know when it will be available. And that for me is not an issue, it's a big issue. Now let's talk about that at the end of the video, because before, let's talk about these brand new mind-blowing features on the camera that I've personally been loving. The camera of the iPhone 16 Pro is where this iPhone shines, because for the first time in years, the Pro models actually get Pro features. And when I'm talking Pro, they're Pro. We get a 48 megapixel Fusion main camera lens. It's basically got a faster sensor, which means there's actually no lag when taking a photo. So once you take a photo, Once you click on it, what you see is what you'll actually see in the image. If you saw my review last year on the 15 Pro, I complained about the ultra-wide camera not being enough because the ultra-wide lens is a very fun lens to use. It's got this massive viewing angle that can get close up to shots or it can have really unique perspectives. But the problem with the ultra-wide was its low light performance. And that's something that I complained heavily about last year's model.
A little bit dark, just in those moments that it's just the iPhone just doesn't activate night mode yet, and you're gonna get grainy images, right? In between sunset and actual night, those moments, the iPhone is going to have a really tough time capturing.
But Apple actually listened to me and improved the ultra-wide lens coming to this year's model. The ultra-wide lens is upgraded from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels, providing better detailed and massive improvement in low light. If you see the SpongeBob shot at the arcade, you could see that this was never really possible before with the iPhone 15 Pro. The detail, the sharpness, the colors are vivid, and there's simply more light coming into the actual lens. You can't believe how happy I am about this change. The larger 16 Pro Max has that ×5 zoom. There's now no camera differences between the big brother and the small brother, which is amazing. If you don't like buying the big iPhone, you can now have the same features both on the small and on the big model. You could previously shoot spatial videos on iPhone, but now with iPhone 16 Pro, you can also shoot spatial photos, so you can relive memories using Apple Vision Pro. Now, I still don't understand this feature fully because now with Vision OS 2, you can now transform a standard photo into a 3D spatial photo. So I just don't understand why you would actually want to shoot a spatial photo when you can just do a standard photo and then just transform it into spatial photo. Does anybody know? There's also a bunch new photographic styles on iPhone 16 Pro. Now, this is a feature that when Apple presented it at the Apple event, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool, I guess. I'm never gonna use this ever. But guess what? It's absolutely amazing. The UI is so intuitive that it actually makes you want to use it a lot. You've got a bunch of different styles to choose from, but not only that, you can actually color grade and actually select the color that you want. It is just very easy to use UI. As small as this feature might sound to a lot of you, once you actually learn how to use it, it is extremely powerful to just have that image look that you actually want. And what's cool about it is that it's not only for photo editing, because you can actually shoot your own photos with that filter, with that specific photographic style that you've previously done. So every photo you capture will look with that certain style. And you might call me biased, but the iPhone has the best camera, period. It's the camera that always treats skin tones first. So you're always gonna have the most accurate skin tones out there. But look, my Samsung Galaxy S24 has more rich colors. It has more vibrant colors. Or the Pixel has more detailed shots. What's amazing about photographic style is that you can actually select that mood from the Pixel or that Galaxy look that you want. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's gonna be able to choose what look you actually want in your images. So yes, there's a new button on the iPhone. We've now got the action button, volume buttons, the power button, and you've now got camera control. Camera control is a dedicated button for the camera that if you tap on it, the camera will open. It's a tactile switch that enables that click experience that a traditional camera has. It's a high precision force sensor that interacts with the Taptic engine, and it actually gives you haptic feedback when you use it. If you lightly double press on it, it will give you all the options that it can give you. You've got fast access to the exposure, depth of field, zoom, cameras, photographic styles, and tone. Is it actually useful? And I gotta say, yes. If you take a bunch of photos on your iPhone, it's just gonna be very natural for you to use it naturally. For me, the best use case clearly is just zooming into photos. It's extremely useful and just feels natural for me to zoom in now with this thing. Now, there's two ways to use camera control. You can use it with landscape, which is probably the one that Apple wants you to use. But today, we tend to shoot photos vertically now for social media, for stories. And it's interesting the way that the capture button actually behaves while vertical. First things first, it's obviously a lot more comfortable to actually use it while in landscape. I personally use the middle finger to actually snap photos on it. But in terms of actually, swiping up and down, using it with one hand is not really that comfortable. What I usually tend to do is just hold it like this and actually, use my other finger to just swipe within the actual button. Take a photo by simply tapping and hold in order to take a video. And yes, let's talk about video.
Hey, look, I guess it's by the grace of God, I done came up on some.
I truly believe that Apple watched my iPhone 15 Pro review last year because Apple added another wish that I wanted on the 16 Pro because it can now shoot at 4K at 120 frames per second. And the quality that this provides you is absurd on how good it is. Just take a look at this shot right here and take a look at the color and the detail and the shadows of her hair. And what's amazing is that you've also now got playback control. So by simply tapping on the edit video button on your iPhone, you're now gonna have this playback icon. And if you tap on that, you're gonna be able to change your playback speed. So if you wanna turn your video into a slow-mo, you can simply do that by just a button now. The slow-mo was so good that I actually reached out to Jonah Daniel again this year to see if we could actually produce a professional commercial just by using the iPhone 16 Pro. And here was our result. Can we record a professional commercial on an iPhone 16 Pro?
Let's do this.
I'm Mr. Body Catcher, Slaughter Gang Soul Snatcher. Ain't no regular F-150, this a fucking rapper.
It's cool, right? Everything was shot on the iPhone, which was amazing. And it doesn't only end there. In terms of video, the iPhone gets improved microphones. It's actually got 4 studio quality microphones with a lower noise floor, meaning you can get more authentic sound. Apple also added audio mix, which uses the inputs from spatial audio capture and advanced intelligence to actually understand what's background noise and what's your voice. So you've got different mixes from standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic. What if I told you right now that I wasn't wearing a microphone and that all of this audio is actually being recorded on the iPhone 16 Pro? So the iPhone 16 Pro has a brand new feature called Audio Mix, which you can actually toggle it on within settings of a video. You've got this little toggle called Audio Mix. You tap that. You've got 4 different effects to play with, but the one that has been surprising me the most is the studio effect, which basically makes me sound like I have a lavalier mic, like a microphone on me. I do not have a microphone right now on me, and all of this audio is coming straight from the iPhone 16 Pro. It's absolutely insane. I'm going to be using this so much for all of my content. It's probably one of my favorite features about this new iPhone, if you want me to be honest. What do you think about how I sound? Let me know in the comments. We also get a significant boost in battery life, which is now rated for 27 hours of video playback compared to the 23 hours of video playback on the 15 Pro. I'm not gonna give my opinion on the battery life yet because I haven't had enough time testing it, but I'll obviously let you know very soon, because I feel like we've got more important things to talk about. As I said in the beginning of the video, the iPhone 16 Pro has problems. We talked about Apple Intelligence. We talked about kind of the hate that not only the iPhone gets, but Apple gets in general. Has Apple ran out of ideas? Is there no more innovation? What's funny about all of this is that Apple keeps breaking the sales year by year, and Apple keeps selling more iPhones every single year. If you're one of those people that thinks that the new iPhone barely has any new features compared to what we had on the iPhone 4, that it was a massive redesign every single year, and every single year you wanted to buy the new iPhone. If you're one of those people, it's okay, but clearly this iPhone just isn't for you. Apple is clearly going after a very different target audience this year. If you want to buy an iPhone 16 or an iPhone 16 Pro, check out what's there on the top right of the website. Switch to Android. Apple is clearly going after many targets, and one of those targets are Android users. If you think about it, the iPhone 16 Pro is such a good iPhone to get if you're an Android user. You basically have so many features that you've been wanting for a long time all in this package. And Apple's also not going after 14 or 15 users. There's even a video on Apple's YouTube channel where a user actually trades in their old iPhone to the new iPhone to pick up the iPhone 16. And that video is actually the iPhone 12. Which brings me exactly to my point. If you've got an iPhone 11, a 12, or even a 13, all the upgrades that you're gonna be getting with the brand new iPhone 16 Pro are incredible. And there's no doubts with that. I personally just don't believe in buying an iPhone every single year. If you wanna buy a new iPhone every single year, that's totally okay. I would personally do that too, just because I love Apple and I love technology so much. But for most people, that's just not the new normal anymore. iPhones are getting so good and iPhones are lasting you such a long time. And Apple is even giving you extremely amazing software updates such as iOS 18 for free. So there's obviously a lot of you that just don't find the need to upgrade to the iPhone 16 Pro. And that's totally okay as well. And then we've got the Apple Intelligence problem. Here's something that you probably didn't know. If you go to apple.com, the US website, What's the biggest headline for the iPhone 16 Pro? It's Apple Intelligence, and you can even see it in Apple's website that it says, "Hello, Apple Intelligence." It's one of the main features of this new iPhone. And then if you go to a country in Europe, for example, Spain, where I'm from, there's no Apple Intelligence in the website. Even the iPhone's wallpaper doesn't even have Apple Intelligence, and then one in the US does. So the iPhone 16 Pro has a problem, and Apple knows that, and Apple acknowledges it. And I hate the fact that Apple Intelligence is not available worldwide. Hopefully Apple will keep fighting for Apple Intelligence being available worldwide. And if this iPhone is for you, you know who you are. I personally find the upgrades on the 16 Pro incredible this year. The new camera improvements is something that I've been waiting for a very long time. And I love the fact that the new iPhone 16 Pro actually has features for the pros. This is the iPhone 16 Pro, and this was my review. You can subscribe here or watch more content like this one. Peace.